This revolution is much like the one that we're experiencing in our own domain. Things are becoming more virtual, more dynamic, and this transformation is affecting practically every aspect of our business and our lives. When we started Tufin, most organizations owned an on-premise network. It was smaller and simpler than today, and although it already had some heterogeneity, it had like firewalls from Check Point and maybe some network infrastructure from Cisco, the number of zones was relatively small, and the perimeter was clear. With the expansion of the network, more security zones were created, and the complexity was on the rise. Around the same time, we realized something very interesting. The focus started to shift from networks to applications. And as a response, we created Secure App. Secure App was designed to address this need. Network connectivity is going to be managed at the application level. Today, the corporate network continues to evolve with additional technologies, such as SD-WAN, cloud, mobile, and IoT. And multi-cloud applications are being deployed on top of these networks. Work from home has accelerated this transition as well. And security policy management is becoming more and more difficult, actually more complicated than it ever was before, with many more application components across the multiple platforms that need to be segmented according to the least privilege principle. Navigating this complexity is challenging. This journey to the cloud can turn into a real storm, and it becomes almost impossible to ensure proper security policies in such a dynamic and heterogeneous environment. How stormy can it get? Okay, let's take a look at the SolarWinds breach. And this is an extreme example of the impact an attack can have in our hyper-connected reality. MITRE's attack matrix for enterprises describes over 200 techniques that attackers use to carry out their attacks. Many of these can be prevented by applying segmentation to the multi-cloud applications. But the complexity of doing so is daunting. Like a racing car that reaches top speeds and a racetrack that keeps surprising us, the speed of application changes has increased significantly. Application developers are measured by velocity, and security teams need to catch up with their velocity. But this is not all. Technology too is changing at a faster pace than ever before, and security teams need to manage more policies, more vulnerabilities, more risks, and more attacks. But this transformation is not just about infrastructure. It includes a shift of power to new personas. We used to talk mostly with the IT people who for years owned security. They owned the budget, they had their own milestones, they moved at their own pace. They were the grown-ups in charge of operations. As we transition from hardware to software, we're also seeing that the software owners, the developers, the DevOps engineers, and the architects are playing a greater role. Their needs are very different than the traditional IT people. They work faster, they thrive on innovation, and they like to move fast and break stuff, which means more security threats, more borders to protect, and greater challenges in managing security policies. According to Gartner, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard this quote before, 99% of firewall breaches are a result of misconfiguration. Actually, we can generalize this and say that most breaches are a result of some kind of misconfiguration, whether it's a firewall policy, a security group in the cloud, an encryption certificate, or an insecure application with bad code. So the problem with modern multi-cloud applications is that a large part of the security configuration is in the application. It's opaque to security managers. And we need to decouple that policy, that security, from specific implementations of the cloud services and the applications. The complexity of managing security is growing, and our customers need visibility and control and a centralized way to manage it. We also believe that due to the speed of the application change, we should be learning security policies and optimizing them continuously within the developer processes the CI/CD. This complexity transforms security policies into the most popular kit on the block, as it is now needed not only for firewalls, but to a multitude of segmentation layers. All need to be configured with good security policies. Remember, your firewall is only as good as your policy, and this applies to every kind of segmentation that we implement.